All right, welcome to another episode, Canucks Chatter podcast. I am Rafal. That is Victor. We've taken a couple of weeks off here, um, not by choice necessarily. We had some technical difficulties and scheduling conflicts and everything, but we're here, and that means we have more stuff to cover because we missed a couple weeks. So I think we should maybe just start I mean, we can go over the games, but really the emphasis is and the focus is on the playoff
But
picture and where they
yeah,
sort of sit in that, bubble. They're on the outside.
yeah.
Um, they're kind of the same. Like they played some great games earlier this week. I mean, we talked about that New Jersey game where they came back. They just played some good games, and then they had the Columbus game where you're like, ugh. Then they
That
played
was a weird game.
it was a weird game back and forth. It was,
Yeah,
huge lead
this
and then it's gone.
wasn't used to seeing Kevin play so poorly.
Yeah. And Demko, like that's another story here is that like Demko is I mean, he's been
Looking
great pretty
outstanding.
much every game. Yeah. He's been great. In that Winnipeg game, they lost, but he
Wasn't
made
his
some huge
fault.
saves. No, not
Yeah.
at all.
Like that Perfetti goal. Oh, that was a classy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, where he just undressed
Uh, Floorboard.
Forbert. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then that was nice.
he's still looking for his license plate. Oh,
Yeah.
that was
That was
probably one
the
of the best
dagger
goals of the
goal.
year.
Yeah. That was beautiful. Um
You can
and
score
that
a goal
this
like that.
yeah. Tough pill to swallow for Vancouver because it's like, they're getting wins and then points, but St. Louis, they're not losing. That's 9 wins
No,
in a row. So you can't even
they
they're not
could
bridging that gap.
they could win out, and St. Louis would still beat them by 7 points. They're so
Yeah,
St. Louis just doesn't lose right now.
no.
Beat
And
Colorado the other day. Yeah, I don't know
like,
what. These are the 2019 Blues reincarnated.
yeah, I mean,
They
they're
just come
just,
out of nowhere.
yeah, because if that wasn't the case, like if they were just playing, good but decent, Vancouver would have a shot. But right now, they only have one game in
It's
hand and they're 6 points back. Like
yeah,
it's with only
they
this
might
many games remaining. It's, yeah.
they might not be chasing St. Louis anymore. They might be chasing Minnesota for that last spot.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, if you look at it this way, I mean, if we're trying to put it into just statistics and percentages, we know the percentages aren't good, but let's just look at it. St. Louis, 87 points, 75 games. They have 7 games left. Let's say they only win 3 of those last 7 games. I would think they win more, but let's just say hypothetically they
Yeah,
only win 3 games out of those 7. That gives them another 6 points, and they'd end the year with 93 points. So Vancouver would need 94 to make the playoffs, and they have 81 points to get 94. That's 13 points, and they have 8 games remaining. They would need to go 6-1-1 in order to
yeah,
make the playoffs.
it's pretty much win out now.
Yeah,
Yeah, even an optimist like me is already saying, "Ooh, this doesn't look good."
no, I mean
Yeah,
they can win every game they have remaining and still
yeah,
not make it, right? So
yeah. And the thing is, they didn't do anything to shoot themselves in the foot that much.
yeah, I mean you can look at the Columbus game, but even there, it's just
They got a
nine
point out of
wins.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the injuries haven't helped. Missing two top 6 forwards
Yeah,
who got sent home during this road trip, and just unlucky that they ran into a St. Louis team that just doesn't seem to lose right now.
yeah. Yeah, the St. Louis just was playing so good. They're getting everything, goaltending. They're playing well.
Yeah.
They're got confidence. They can come back late in games, and um,
And they're
yeah,
going to have their number one prospect, Jimmy Snuggerud, nephew of former NHLer Dave Snuggerud, enter the lineup this week, and
okay,
he's going to be a big, interesting player to see. He's one of the top young players in the league, in the prospects wise, and St. Louis just keeps adding and adding. Four Nations hero Jerome Mannington continues to
yeah, play well.
play up to his 2019 level, and Four Nations gold medal game level, which is good for St. Louis.
Yeah, no,
It's just
that's a huge
hats
part of
off to
it.
St. Louis. They earned their spot.
But yeah, no, I mean, when you go on a 9 game heater, like it's, you're doing something well. They're playing well. I don't know if they can, I mean, who knows? Can they keep it up for another 7 games? But I don't think they're
They
gonna. It
haven't.
doesn't
They have enough of a cushion that they don't need to,
exactly like I don't see them falling off a cliff. You know, yeah, I just don't see it. Yeah,
unless pre-Four Nations Jordan Bennington comes back, and
yeah,
even
but if
then, it's
yeah,
still so the 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 cup. Just the space they put in between Vancouver and Calgary is just almost uncatchable now.
yeah,
And
because yeah,
unless Minnesota and all their injuries start to come through, and even then, that's still a big hill to climb.
yeah, exactly right. It's even if they go just 500, one of those teams or around there, then they probably still going to make the playoffs. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Calgary's also on the outside looking in, but they have 2 games in hand on, or 3 games in hand on St. Louis. So what would that be? Even if they won those 3 games, they're still behind by a point.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's
doesn't look good
unfortunate.
for anyone outside of St. Louis and Minnesota.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. I mean, I'm a little more impartial. I love all Canadian teams. I want to see them in the playoffs, and
Ooh.
and I would love to see somebody make it. Obviously, Vancouver would be the best. You know, I know they're not going to go on a run really, but just to see them in the playoffs, this city, it's fun. I like the atmosphere, and yeah, it's can't write the obituary yet, but just been a season of
The dirt
yeah,
is ready on
uh,
the casket. They've
yeah,
got the dirt and they're ready to. It's the grave is dug. It's just time to fill it in. They're almost 6 feet under now.
yeah,
Great show, by the way.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about a little bit about some of the games that the Canucks played. I mean, they don't play again until Wednesday, but the last, I mean, there were some big games, and we talked about, that Jets game that was a few weeks ago. That was a huge win when they won 6-2, and that was like one of the best games of the season, I'd say.
The best game of the season, that or the
Yeah.
Colorado game a couple months ago.
hmm
But
Just
they're doing it without their number one center too. These last few games, and
yeah,
P. Suter, pay that
yeah.
man his money because he has looked like a number one center. Who
He's
would
gonna
have
he's gonna make
thought?
money. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see him in a Canuck uniform next year. But
yeah. Like what?
he's outpricing himself.
Yeah. Like, what do you think he'd get on the open market? Like,
You're almost looking at $5 million for him right now.
yeah,
Because
he's got 20
part
something goals, center.
he's a literal Swiss Army knife. You want him in the bottom six winger? Fine. Bottom six center works. Top six winger, he can work there as well. He can
Yeah.
literally play any spot, and some team will pay for him. That they can use him anywhere if they have a little bit more depth. He can be a center. He can be a winger for you. He's a plug and play player that can play both special teams, 5-on-5, defensively responsible, brings a modicum of offense. He deserves to get his money.
Yeah, I wonder. Like, I can see like, what's his contract at right now? I can definitely see him making 4 million.
2.5, I think.
Yeah, definitely getting a raise. That's
Yeah.
apparent because he's been a 14, 15 goal scorer pretty much since he entered the league.
Yeah.
This year it's higher or
They
points.
got he, the Canucks got a steal at him, getting him late in the offseason last year, and
Yeah.
this year, and he's paid off that contract at tenfold, and
hmm
good good on him that he's going to be able to reap the benefits of a good season. Now I kind of wish they traded him and gotten
Got
something in
some
return
assets.
at the deadline, but
But
they were in the
yeah, I
playoff
wonder what they would
spot.
have got for him.
Probably a second round pick,
Maybe, yeah.
which would have been too little considering Andrei Kuzmenko got a second round pick out of
Yeah.
him, and he's nowhere near the player P. Suter is.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, without paying him, if you look at the centers in this upcoming UFA market, I mean, there's just not much,
No,
and I think that's going to be a huge hole. I mean, you lost, obviously, or you traded JT Miller, and if you're not going to sign Suitor. Like, you know, I mean, I guess that's a conversation for the off season, but I mean, sure, you know, the management is already looking at that. Like, what are the potential options here? Because there isn't too much, and outside of Pedersen, like, who you need top centers. You know, you need second line center.
Ratu's looked pretty good in these last few games. I bet he might be able to fill that third line center role with him and Blue. If he and Bluer can fluctuate, going
Yeah,
back and forth between the third and fourth line center. Ratu does win a lot of faceoffs. You can put him on the penalty kill. If he learns to do that a little bit better, he'll be a dangerous penalty killer for the team. And there was rumors circulating around that Vancouver's interested in going after former captain Bo Horvat.
Paul Horvat.
I'm
Yeah,
a big Bo Horvat guy here, and if there's something they're able to trade for Bo, I don't see why not go after him. He's a big cap hit with a long term, but he fits. They like him in the room.
yeah,
They'll know he won't be the captain anymore, but all those people with Bo Horvat captain jerseys can bring them out of the closet and wear again.
yeah, yeah. It's that's a definitely a possibility. I mean, because they still have Hedel, right?
Yeah, we don't
But
know what's going on with Hedel right now.
Yeah,
They're very tight-lipped. They're keeping him out. I don't mind if they keep him out for the rest of the season. The guy's had multiple concussions, and he missed a lot of time last year with it. And make sure he gets well and is ready for next season. That's the more important part, and even more important, his long-term health, just living-wise. I don't want anything to happen to these guys. And there's been many players previous years who've played through concussions, and their life has been impacted. Joe Murphy, who took a vicious cheap headshot back in the day, which was legal when he was played, didn't miss a game. He missed the rest of that game and then played through it, and now he's living on the streets. He's addicted to drugs and alcohol, and he just he's struggling with life, and I don't want something to happen to any players. And it's a cautionary tale, playing through concussions. No need to be a tough guy. So I'm okay with Hedel sitting out. Even if PD sits out the rest of the year, if playoffs aren't of reach, let's get these guys healthy for next year. Reset everything. Give the young guys like Max Sasson, Atu Ratu a chance to play.
Yeah, I mean, for this season, for sure. I mean, I think, you know, you start looking at percentages, especially, you know, the next two games, right? If you're gonna only win one of them, or you know, you don't get many points in the next two games, you pretty much have your answer of what's gonna happen if you don't already. You know, because if Hedel is coming back next year and he's able to, you know, be a full timer, you know, he probably slots more on as a third line center. He's not on a good team. You know, he's not a second line center. So, like you mentioned earlier, like Horvat, that's, you know, that's a pretty good second line center. Outside of that, you know, there's a UFA market. There's Sam Bennett and things like that, but that's, you know, going to cost a lot of money, and there's going to be high demand for him. So,
yeah, 18-year-old Sam Bennett's he's a winner.
Yeah.
Stanley Cup champion, Four Nations champion, proven playoff performer.
Yeah. And he's got skill, you know what I mean? Like when you enter the league, you know, he wasn't scoring a bunch of goals, but now when you're getting like, you know, he's probably going to have 50 plus points. The last few years, it's like 40, 50 points. And the style of play that he has and the physicality, like that's, you know.
You want more points. If he's going to get paid a lot of money, you'd want a little bit more than 50 points for a guy like that.
Yeah. That's why I'm wary about overpaying for a guy like him, even though he does bring stuff outside of the points, you know what I mean?
And Jonathan Toews was a great leader, a really good player, number one, but sometimes he was paid as a legit point producer, which he never was. I think 70, 80 points was his max, and he somehow he was rated one of the top 100 players to ever play the game, ahead of Evgeny Malkin, which I will never find that more weird.
Yeah, Malkin had many 100-plus point seasons, so
just as many cup wins.
Yeah, and I wonder too, like if it's also like what they do in the playoffs, right? I think when they look at Sam Bennett, they'll see the last couple of years of the playoffs, the contributions there, and that plays a factor too. Like same with
Yeah,
Taves, right? You saw, I mean, I'm not comparing him to Malkin, but
yeah,
just in the playoffs, Taves kind of he took another step, right? Like you noticed him, he would make the big game plays when the
yeah.
pressure was on, when it was,
Absolute,
you know,
absolute leader. Gr-
yeah,
Probably one of the best number two centers, but
yeah.
uh,
But I
not
think,
slagging on him.
yeah,
He just gets a little bit more. And players like that, well, like Bennett didn't deserve to get his money, but well, he's
someone's
gonna
going to
get paid like a
overpay.
number. He's gonna get paid like a number one. Produces like a low end two, high end three. He brings so much intangibles, though the leadership
Yeah,
quality, and he does bring a lot to the table. So 18-year-old Sam Bennett is depends on where he goes. If he's going to go to a middling team that's on the precipice of the playoffs and being asked to be a number one, he might be overpaid. If he goes to a contending team like Florida and gets paid the right amount, perfect fit.
yeah. I think I think also the center market being so, um, you know, small and not there's no like hindsight that plays in his factor, right? That's probably a good thing for him and his next contract. So we'll see. I don't
Unless
think.
you want,
Yeah,
unless you can turn Mitch Marner into a center.
yeah. The thing is like I guess the face-offs he doesn't really play center, but defensive wise, like he's one of the most defensive sound
Oh,
forwards in the
Marner's
league.
great
So
defensively.
yeah,
I'm a
he's very good.
big fan of Marner. I think he drives the team so he
Yeah,
drives offense more than Matthews. Matthews does is a bit higher quality
he's a goal
finisher,
scorer. Yeah,
where the play draw Marner drives play, has the puck on his stick. He
yeah,
creates a lot more.
yeah, for sure. His vision is up there with those top guys that can see the game a specific way. Um, but yeah, I guess
John,
yeah,
the Canucks want to roll the dice on John Tavares. That'd be
oh, yeah,
that'd be interesting. See,
and he's having a great
okay.
season. You kind of you think at this age he would slow down and the contract would look bad. I mean, he's still like he's a point per game guy. Still, he's gonna
Yeah,
get close to 40 goals. It's
never known
yeah,
to be a great skater, but he's still producing.
yeah. I think it's his hands and it's just
It's his high
hot
hockey
IQ.
IQ.
Yeah, yeah. It
And
still plays a factor for the Canucks. I guess we'll have to see where they're at and you know what players want. Um, yeah, it's
Canucks are waiting for 8 years away and 9 years away free agency when two top-notch centers become free agents,
if they
and
become free agents,
two,
that's the thing.
two guys
Right?
coming home, lead their childhood team to their first Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I
Signed
mean,
with Bonner Cadard and Cacklin
and Malabrini.
Malabrini.
I gotta say something though. Watching a couple of San Jose games and seeing Celebrini, man, he is the real deal. That kid is
Absolutely,
so good. He
yeah.
is so good. Like he's
Yeah,
so
this is
noticeable even
very
on a team like San Jose.
yeah. Him and the Fresh Prince of San
Yeah,
Jose,
Will
Will
Smith.
Smith.
Yeah, those guys are
Will
just so good.
hopefully San Jose will choose Will Smith over Celebrini, and
Yeah,
Celebrini will come home and do what he did last year in the playoffs, saying "Go Canucks, go!" waving
yeah,
the white towel. But that's 8 years away. This year's free agency,
yeah. We got to
not
see what
much.
Vancouver even looks like at that point. Nobody nobody knows. Are they
Is
are they a good contender then, or is
is
things still going south?
EP40 staying on the team? Is he?
Exactly. Is Quinn Hughes on the team, right?
Quinn Hughes will be on the team.
Well, you'd think so, but you just never know. I
He
mean,
still he still has another 2 more years. He's not eligible for contract extension until next offseason.
yeah. But hey, I guess it
And
depends what happens here with the team for a guy like
yeah,
him, right?
I'd love if he's not staying here. I'd love for him to go to Jersey. I don't
Yeah.
blame. I also
That's not
don't
fair. They
blame
can't
him
have
if
all
he.
three of them.
It'd be great. When I was down in Vegas, sitting beside a person with Jack who had a Jack Hughes jersey, and I'm like, "You guys like Quinn Hughes?" Like, yeah, we love Quinn Hughes. Hughes as
Hmm.
well. He's a Hughes brother, right? In
Yeah.
Vancouver, we love the Hughes brothers as well.
Yeah. I mean, they're all just so skilled. I mean, you know, uh, what flies out is Quinn Hughes' just skating ability. I mean, I wouldn't would say Jack and Luke are far behind, but Quinn's ability on the back end just to kind of skate and create lanes and get the
probably
puck
a
through.
top 5 player in the league right now.
For this season, I definitely say so.
Just outside of it.
Probably in there. I wouldn't.
And the funny thing is, he might not even be the best defenseman in the league.
Yeah. Well, he's up there. He's knocking on that door. I mean, it's
It's
Cale
him
Makar's
or Cale
not.
Makar.
Yeah, I'd say it for this season for sure.
Last few seasons, there's no one even in the conversation.
No,
you're not. If someone says Makar, they're not wrong. Someone says Quinn, they're not wrong either.
Yeah. Yeah, they're.
If you said Adam Fox, you'd be wrong.
Yeah, no, I he's not in the same conversation. Yeah, I can't think of anybody else other than them for that style. I mean, there's maybe better shutdown defensemen. But overall,
Jacobs,
defenseman. Slavin. Slavin's a very good defensive shutdown guy.
He showed it in Four Nations. He showed the hockey world, this is what I can do.
Yeah, kind of got slept on there in Carolina, but once everyone sees,
I think most people knew about it, but the casuals found out oh,
exactly,
this guy's good.
Yeah, some people don't tune into other fan bases or teams and things like that, and they don't know oh, this guy's good.
If you knew about Jacob, if you knew Jacob Slavin, you knew what he'd bring, but you just didn't realize how good he is.
Yeah. Especially when you see him at best on best, and you're like, oh, he's going to face all these great American players in the finals, but he's able to shut him down. And
it's like when Quinn Hughes plays against the Eastern team, all you hear Eastern media is like, "Holy crap, is this guy ever good?"
Yeah, exactly. That's why we've said this before on the podcast. That's why I'm happy to be on the West Coast here. You can watch the East Coast games and then the West Coast games. You get it all, which is awesome. That would suck to just miss a portion of it because it's too late.
Yeah, every time I'm on the East, I'm like, oh, 4:30, game's almost done. In 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, so, all right, let's get back to Vancouver a little bit. Upcoming schedule, what are you looking for? We kind of talked about it. Actually, a player that I kind of want to talk about is Lekaramaki. Who I think you see the signs and of what he can be. It's still young, still really early. I definitely think he can put on a bit more strength. I think that's one of the things that
that's
you can
always going to be a thing for him, is not being one of the bigger guys.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also he's young, right? Sometimes
20.
Yeah, he's 20. He's 5'11", 172. Just kind of beef up a bit, get a little bit stronger. Yeah. Right. I think that'll
he's an NHLer already now. He's shown nothing, but he can score in the AHL. The only reason he needs to go back down is just to fine tune some defensive play.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe good for him to get, at the end of the season, go down, help Abbotsford win a Calder Cup, score a few more goals.
Yeah.
He looks like he belongs up here now.
Yeah, I just think that the strength will really help his game. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because you can see sometimes he kind of gets muscled off the puck, and that's not uncommon for a 20-year-old, right? It's just something to maybe emphasis, and I think he probably already knows that, right? When you start playing more consistently in the NHL, you see, okay, I know what I need to work on here.
He has a mirror. He knows how.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of
the young prospects this year have really stepped up.
Yeah.
DPD doesn't look like he's going back down to Abbotsford anytime soon.
Yeah.
Unless they also want him to go help out the Calder Cup, him and Mancini. That looks like to be a formidable pair. If they stay together, that would be a nice shutdown pair for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some promise, I think, and like you said, in the prospects that have played here, and you kind of get a small sample size. And the Abbotsford Canucks are doing pretty well right now.
Nine straight
wins. Yeah, 9 straight wins.
And Tom Willander is still playing in Boston University, helping his team hoping to get to the Final Four, and they might sign him either to an NHL contract or an AHL contract at the end of his college season. And it's another defenseman they could throw onto Abbotsford.
Yeah. for sure. But you know, make no question about it. I think there's going to have to be some overhaul in the roster in the off season. A lot of decisions to make and see what's available because there's just a lot of holes on the team, right? And I think, I don't know if this fan base after especially last year and then you watch this season is okay with kind of like an experimental season next year. I think they kind of want to see a step, be like, hey, we want to have a playoff spot. We want to.
We want the playoffs.
Yeah.
There's only get a couple more seasons of Quinn Hughes on a affordable contract.
Exactly.
Not only affordable contract if he's going to stay here. Hopefully he stays here. I don't want him going anywhere. I want him to be a lifelong Canuck. It took Alex Edler 10, 12 years to become the all-time leading scorer for the Canucks. Next defenseman. Quinn's going to catch him in half that time. He's almost there right now. He might be passing him next year. So yeah. And the way this team is built, at the beginning of the year, everyone was scared of their defense of being terrible. That's almost a strength now.
I don't know if I'd call it a strength. I think it's just better than what it could have been. I think you
strength as a team. I think compared to everyone.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to if you got to compare your team against the 31 others. That's just the nature of the league.
I just look at their strengths of what the team has.
Yeah,
like every team. Like
you're very optimist.
San Jose has their strengths. That their strengths is they're a very young team who's very fast.
Yeah,
so every team has strengths of some sort. And right now, Vancouver's strength is that back end where everyone's almost playing their role, and that's even with probably an 85% Quinn Hughes, who's still looking better than every other defenseman in the league. Peron's been outstanding since coming back from injury.
Mm-hmm.
Pettersson's had a couple ups and downs here, but he's been solid. The chaos giraffe, Tyler Myers, might be the unsung hero of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And Forward's just an elite penalty killer. They haven't played him higher than a fifth or sixth defenseman, which is perfect. And Mancini and DP have just rotated in and out perfectly. And if Tom Willander comes at the end of the year, hopefully not, save that contract for a little bit. Defense is looking solid right now, and just need some more forwards that can score. And they have a first-round pick for now. There will be a diamond in the rough there, or win the lottery. But of course, the projected number 1 overall pick is a defenseman.
Yeah. That's another question about the Brock Besser. What happens with him, right? Do they sign him? Do they not? Depends on the dollar amount, but
I would love to see him here, but also he might need a fresh start.
Yeah, because it's like you know the offense, you can see it. It's just defensively, right? Like that's the liability there is what
Which is strange. He's never been known as a bad defensive player until this year. He got the matchups last year playing with JT Miller, and then this year just everything's fallen off. Ever since that Tanner Jeannot hit, has not been the same. He got off to a great start, got that concussion, and just hasn't looked the same. He's on a little bit of a heater right now, which is good.
Yeah, goals wise. That Columbus game was a rough one though. I knew a lot of Canucks fans, like friends, that were like, pissed off after that game because of having the 3-0 lead, the 5-3, and end up losing that one.
I don't even know what to say about that.
Yeah,
he's like, they put up 6 goals and lose. This is just this year's Canucks.
Yeah,
I can't even. I'll just say Kevin didn't play his best that game. That's all.
He didn't play well at all. There's no.
The way he's done this year, I'm not going to put the blame on him for anything. He's done what he can do, and he's allowed to have bad nights. They'd be much worse off if they didn't sign him. Shilaw's being as the number 1. Oh boy, that would have been scary.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't have been this conversation of, hey, can they make the playoffs? Can
they get the number 1 draft pick this year?
Exactly, that's what it'd be.
They still can get the number 1 draft pick. I'm hoping.
Very small. Anyone,
they're one
I guess.
of 5 or 6 teams to never get the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Can you guess any of them?
That haven't got a first overall pick yet?
Yep.
Well, I'll go Vegas. They haven't got a first overall. They're new. Seattle, they're new.
Yeah.
I know they haven't. There's two. I guess Vancouver's one of them. Thinking of newer teams who hasn't got a first overall pick. Has Minnesota?
Minnesota is not.
And Minnesota hasn't. Okay.
They've
How
had
many
number
more are
one
there?
overall picks.
How many more?
I can guess one more off the top of my head.
Columbus has not, right?
They have Rick Nash.
Rick Nash, right. Who is? Forgetting all the NHL teams. I got to look at them here.
We have mentioned them this year already in this episode.
We've mentioned them in this episode. St. Louis?
Yes. Nope, they've got.
Oh. Not Minnesota, was it?
You already said Minnesota.
Oh, I said Minnesota. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Wasn't
this team has a Stanley Cup win. They are currently
Florida
fighting for a
fighting for a playoff
spot.
The Flames?
Yep.
Oh. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Flames have been around since what, they
late 70s.
70, yeah. Okay.
Through Atlanta and Calgary, they've never had one.
Well, if it's, it's just crazy how much of a difference it can make on a team if it's the right year and you do win the first overall or the second. It's
Canucks
huge.
have had a couple chances. Their first ever one, the spinning wheel against Buffalo, went the wrong way, and it ended up each team was supposed to have the same amount, but they didn't set the wheel correctly, so Buffalo ended up having one extra pick.
What year was that?
Pick.
That was
1970. And Buffalo took Gilbert Perreault, Hall of Famer. Vancouver took Dale Talon. And then the Connor Bedard year, when they drew numbers,
yeah,
Canucks were one number off from getting that pick.
Yeah.
Classic Canucks.
Yeah, it's so weird because as a team, as a management, there's so much riding on something that you have no control over, and it's like it changes your whole franchise on the lottery.
Like the 2005 draft. No hockey the year before. They played the lottery, and guess who wins it? Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Anaheim was this close. Yeah, to getting Crosby.
They couldn't believe Bobby Ryan was available for that too.
Yeah. Like Bobby Ryan, good player, but Sidney Crosby,
Yeah.
There's a big difference there.
See, more Canucks bad luck in that draft. They took the late Luc Bourdon on that, who was looking to be a great defenseman. Unfortunate accident.
Yeah.
Canucks don't have very much luck sometimes.
Yeah. There's part of it is luck too. There's so much that goes into it, and making a team that can contend and try to win. Canucks, hopefully they can start steering towards that direction. There's a lot of unanswered questions. It's been a tough year, but it's not over yet. So, still have a couple games left. Maybe some crazy things happen. You never know.
Moral victories is good enough. I just want to see the young players play well. Like Linus Karlsson, who might not be the fastest skater in the league, but he good hockey IQ, good plays hard, but does lack skating, but could be a fit on it somewhere. And seeing Bubble Demko show up and not get hurt is the big thing. He's been outstanding, and this team this might be the best they've looked all year.
Yeah, you never know. Like, we'll see how the team looks like next year. But if Demko can stay healthy and play, like if Demko's healthy all year, I think there might be in one of those wild card spots. You never know.
I don't know. No.
I mean, there's too many outside factors. Hard to say.
Kevin's given them grade A quality goaltending all year, so
that's true.
When he's been in that, it hasn't been an issue. It's been until this little run of Demko, anybody else showing up in net has been good.
for sure. I just remembered now something about Kevin Lankin and getting his contract this year. His save percentage. I saw a tweet. I forget who it was. It was one of the media members. Tweeted his save percentage before the contract was signed and after the contract. Before the contract was what we've seen all year, 9 something, and since he signed the contract, his
8 something.
8 something. Yeah.
Yeah. He's tired. There's no doubt about that. They've been riding him a lot. They haven't been able to trust Artur's or Shilov's very much all year.
Yeah.
And they've, with the way especially that first beginning of the season when he was facing a barrage of pucks, with that when you had Desharnais and Susie just looking like ECHL defensemen, he faced a lot of grade A quality, and now he's paying for it, getting a little tired. But good thing for the team that Demko's here and who's healthy and looking like the regular Demko. So goaltending has been the least of their concerns.
Yeah, for sure.
Most of the season.
Most of the season. There's always
in the non-Lankinen starts. They've been
And when you look back on the season, you won't be like, oh, it was a missed opportunity because of the goaltending. It's more of like, locker room drama, injuries, things just not going well, individual players not
management not taking the right steps in building a defense who can move the puck.
Exactly, yeah, that plays a factor. Some top players' confidence.
Looked like a guy that was going to be. He might have been the savior, and he obviously wasn't.
No. Well, that's they're not big name guys. It's hard to, like when you just start strapping on like third pairing defensemen that are serviceable and can do the job, but you expect them to play top 4 minutes. It's not realistic for a team.
Yeah, you can do that. You can hide them, but when they could move the puck, anyone that outside of that top pairing, none of the other 4 or 5 guys could move the puck with any sort of consistency.
Yeah.
That hurt. That definitely killed the first half of the season.
For sure.
Desharnais, Susie was just awful this year,
and he's been good in the past. So that one was a little bit surprising. Desharnais one was, I think, a little I expected from me.
I was expecting that from Desharnais. You knew from watching last year, like, oh, we don't want this guy on the team. Like Tyson Barrie might be an awful defender, but
he's got some offense.
He could move the puck out at least. He could shelter him. But they got rid of the contract as part of that Patterson deal.
Yeah.
I didn't like that they gave a high-end prospect as part of that deal along with that first-round pick.
I feel like they had to, though.
Like Marvin Burnstrom, he's looking really good so far. And I didn't think they need to give up that high of a prospect. I thought maybe an Archdeep Baines could have gotten the deal done too.
But that's not a high prospect, right? That's not, you always feel a little bit higher about your own prospects than other teams, right? And I think
the high prospect was the first round pick.
Yeah.
They didn't need to give up another high prospect that they did.
Well, we can say they didn't have to, but we don't know. We weren't in those calls, and we don't know what they was offered, right? Like it's you always want to get fair value, but that's not always realistic.
When your cupboards are bare, you don't want to give up the good stuff.
Yeah. No, they wanted to get rid of the contract, and they wanted to still find a way to make the playoffs. And
they didn't even need to get rid of the contract this year. They could have just waited to the off season.
Well, they were still at the time they were thinking that they can still make the playoffs, but
they didn't even use the caps. All that caps manipulation didn't even matter because they didn't do anything at the deadline.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think we've talked enough about it. I think there's how many more weeks left in the season? About 2.5.
Two. The 14th is the last game of the season.
All right. Well, we'll. I think by next episode next week we'll have a very clear picture of what's going to happen.
Should be, because after the Sunday game against Vegas, we'll definitely know for sure.
Yeah. Right now there's a picture, but it's a little bit blurry. We're not sure if we see what we think we see. We'll know what we see next week.
Watch them lose to Anaheim, beat Seattle and Vegas to keep that little glimmer of hope.
Yeah, but even with that, they're I don't know. You'd have to hope that St. Louis loses 3 games in a row while Vancouver wins 2 of 3, and to bridge the gap closer, which is just going to be hard. But you know what? You never know. We'll
now
keep
I'm more
watching.
banking on Minnesota to lose more than St. Louis now.
Yeah, they're still 1 point up, but yeah, maybe because they have 7 games left. Hopefully, they just go on a regardless, Vancouver can't focus on that. All they can do is just try to win pretty much every game they have left, which is not going to be easy. But
P.S. Suter, number 1 center.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I guess that does it for us. Again, we upload every episode here on YouTube at the Canucks Chatter. We're on X at the Canucks Chatter as well. Give us a follow, subscribe. Yeah. I guess catch everybody next week, and thanks for tuning in.
Go Canucks go.